portal. June 26, 2023, Cordova, South Carolina. It was a typical summer evening in the small town of Cordova when a local resident had just returned home from work, eager to spend some good time with his family. As usual, he took his daughter out to play on the trampoline in the backyard. He then walked to the front yard to talk to his partner. As he was chatting, suddenly he heard his daughter's urgent screams as she was desperately telling him to look up at the sky. What he saw next was something beyond anything he could have ever imagined. Take a look.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah, just keep watching it, Maya. Oh my God, what is the... Tamia, it's back. Look. I don't make this up. It went that way, and it came from over there back. What is that? I've never seen such. Yeah, I see it, sweetheart, I see it.
Hovering above them was something that looked like a white, unidentified object. However, the eyewitness claimed that it looked like a portal, but not in the way most people might picture it. Instead of a round opening, it appeared as a long, cloud-like line that got thinner at both ends. The strange shape in the sky began to change. It grew bigger, then smaller, repeating this cycle over and over. The father sounded confused as this bizarre event unfolded right above their backyard. Suddenly, the cloud-like line started to shrink. It got smaller and smaller until it seemed to fold in on itself. The eyewitness also reported that it zoomed down towards them abruptly and then just stopped, hovering in the air. For a few moments, it seemed to be looking around, as if taking in its surroundings. Then, without any warning, the UFO, or the portal according to Eyewitness, shot off into the distance. But the show wasn't over yet. A few minutes later, it came back. Once again, it hovered near them, observing. After a short while, it zipped away again, this time in the opposite direction. The entire event lasted about 30 minutes, from 8 o'clock to 8:30 p.m. 3 people witnessed this strange occurrence: the father, his daughter, and likely his partner. The family was left stunned by what they had seen. But what do you think? What was that strange portal-like shape in the sky? And where did it come from? And why exactly did it appear in the first place? Well, let me know down in the comments below. The British Concord UFO incident. On a clear day in 1976, high above the Atlantic Ocean, a British Airways Concorde was soaring through the sky, high up among the clouds. The supersonic jet, known for its incredible speed and unique design, was being filmed for a commercial. The crew on board and the film team were focused on capturing the perfect shots to showcase the marvel of modern aviation. As the Concorde cruised at its typical altitude of around 60,000 feet, something absolutely mind-blowing took place. The film crew, busy with their work, didn't notice anything unusual at first. They continued filming, capturing the sleek aircraft against the backdrop of the blue sky and puffy white clouds. It wasn't until later, when reviewing the footage, that something extremely strange caught their attention. Let's take a look at the video first. In one of the shots, a fast-moving white object seems to have appeared near the Concorde airline. This object seemed to keep pace with the supersonic jet, which was traveling at speeds over 1,300 miles per hour. That's insane. The small, disc-shaped object can be seen moving quickly across the frame. It appeared metallic and reflected the sunlight, making it stand out against the sky. The object's movements were smooth and controlled, unlike anything the crew had seen before. News of this unusual sighting spread quickly. The sighting took place during the filming of the commercial, and the footage that was captured remains one of the rare instances where a UFO was caught on a professional-grade film. This made the event even more significant. The film crew and others involved in the shoot were taken by surprise. They had set out to capture the magnificence of the Concord, but ended up recording something far more mysterious. It wasn't just a blurry image or shaky video taken by an amateur. This was high-quality footage shot by professionals. Experts from various fields began to study the film. The British UFO Research Association also took a close look at the footage. They examined the video frame by frame, trying to figure out what the object could be. Despite their efforts, they couldn't come up with a clear explanation. What made this sighting even more interesting was the fact that it happened near a Concorde. These planes flew much higher and faster than regular aircraft. For something to keep up with a Concorde or even appear close to it, it would need to be incredibly advanced or flying at an incredible speed. The footage became one of the most talked about pieces of UFO evidence. It sparked debates and discussions among UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike. Some people believed it was proof of extraterrestrial visitors, while others thought there must be a more ordinary explanation. Years passed, but the mystery of the Concorde UFO remained unsolved. But to this day, the footage continues to fascinate people, appearing in documentaries and TV shows about unexplained phenomena. It became a classic case in UFO history, often mentioned alongside other famous sightings. Blink. On June 24, around 5:50 p.m. local time in Perth, Western Australia, an unusual event occurred near Pearce Air Force Base. A resident who was going about their usual evening activities witnessed something truly bizarre in the evening sky. The person was outside when he suddenly encountered a white blinking light moving in a straight line across the sky. The light was steady and never changed color. Intrigued by the sight, the individual quickly took out his phone and began recording the unusual occurrence. As the recording shows, the mysterious white light moved laterally in a perfect line. It did not deviate from its path and maintained a consistent speed. The light seemed large and was moving quite quickly, leading the observer to believe it wasn't a typical drone. Though the person was already acquainted with all types of aerial crafts, as he had been living near the Air Force Base, he had never seen anything like this one before, making the sighting even more questionable. But here's where things become interesting. According to the Eyewitness, about a minute or so after the white light disappeared, a non-passenger aircraft flew in the same direction. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't captured on this video. But if what the Eyewitness says is true, then this adds another layer of mystery to the event, as it sounds like the aircraft might have been following or investigating the blinking light. The location of this sighting, near Pearce Air Force Base, is also notable. The base is known for military operations, which could imply various explanations, but like the individual said, he is already quite familiar with the military operations taking place in the air, so there was no point for him to make a video of something that he is already aware of. And this raises many questions, because the nature of the light, its purpose, and its origin are all unclear. So was it some kind of experimental aircraft, or a prototype undisclosed to the public? Or was it something else entirely? I leave it up to you to be the judge of that. Not a star. April 9th, 2024, Montreal, Canada. At 2:17 p.m., a local resident found himself in an alley waiting for help with their bike. As they stood there, something highly unusual caught their eye in the clear blue sky. It was incredibly bright, almost like a star you would see at night, yet it was clearly visible in the afternoon sky. This object was not stationary. It seemed to spin or blink, capturing the observer's attention. Let's take a look at the video. For 3 minutes, from 2:17 p.m. to 2:20 p.m., this star-like object slowly moved to the right. The movement was subtle, but still noticeable. The observer watched it closely, fascinated by the bright, spinning light. At one point, the observer looked down at their phone for just a few seconds. When they looked back up, guess what happened? The object mysteriously disappeared. Even after the object disappeared, the observer stayed in the same spot for almost 10 more minutes, hoping to see it again. But unfortunately, it never reappeared. This sudden disappearance added another layer of mystery to the sighting. Because if it was indeed a star, why would it suddenly disappear in just a matter of few seconds? This encounter was short, only a few minutes, but it was enough to leave a lasting impression on the eyewitness. So, did the individual accidentally capture something phenomenal? Or was it something else entirely? Well, you decide. Overhead. Before I get into it, if you are new here and enjoy mysterious UFO videos like these, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel because more videos like this are on your way. That said, let's get back to the video. June 23, 2024, 11 miles west of Salem, Oregon. It was around 9:40 p.m. when two people noticed something strange in the sky. The evening was quiet and clear, with the stars just starting to appear in the sky. The two witnesses who driving along the road of Salem were suddenly drawn to a bright, glowing point of light in the sky. Take a look.
What is that? I don't know. That's not a plane. No, it's just like a light. Yeah. Are you? What's that? What is that? What actually? No, for real. What is that? What's up? That just stayed over a car. What is it? Is it like a helicopter?
The video shows what looks like a glowing light, clearly visible against the night sky. This light was a yellow-orange color and initially seemed to be moving from the north. As they watched, the light's movement was slow but steady, giving the impression it might be something normal like an airplane or a satellite. However, as it got closer and directly above them, the light stopped moving completely. It appeared to be frozen in place, hanging in the sky without any motion. The sight was unlike anything they had seen before. They expected it to continue moving, but instead, it remained still, defying their expectations. It wasn't behaving like any aircraft they knew of, nor did it resemble a typical celestial body like a star or a planet. As the light hovered above them, they couldn't hear any noise that would usually accompany an aircraft. They continued to watch, hoping to see it move again or show some sign of what it might be. But after a few minutes, the light simply faded away, leaving them with more questions than answers. This sighting left a strong impression on the witnesses. The stillness and the color of the light were not something they could easily explain. So, what do you think? Was something truly extraordinary got accidentally caught on camera? Or does this object have a more normal explanation to it? Well, let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy UFO videos, make sure to watch these other videos as well. Also, do subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more UFO videos in the future.